Have you ever wondered what would have happened if today you turned left instead of right? If you sent a message instead of staying silent? Or if you seized an opportunity instead of letting it slip away? Could it be that there exists another version of you, living in another timeline, walking the path of the choices you didn't make? It sounds like science fiction, but when we step into the strange world of quantum physics, we find hints that make this idea not so far-fetched. And indeed, it is so spooky that it shakes the very foundation of how we think about reality. Picture this: two tiny particles born from the same source. Even if you send one to the moon while the other remains on Earth, they stay connected. The moment one changes state, the other instantly changes too, no matter if they're separated by thousands of kilometers. This defies common sense. How can information travel faster than light? And yet, at the quantum level, it does happen, and has been proven in countless experiments. In fact, the 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded for confirming the reality of this phenomenon. But let's stretch the idea further. If two particles can remain bound together across vast distances, could different versions of you also be linked by some invisible thread? This leads us to the many worlds interpretation of Hugh Everett. He proposed that every time a quantum event occurs, the universe doesn't choose a single outcome. It splits, branching into countless possibilities. Each possibility is its own parallel universe. If that's true, then every choice you make, whether to wear the blue shirt or the red one, whether to pursue this career or that, creates another version of you living out that path in another timeline. Somewhere out there, another you is living in the house you once passed up. Another you is still in love with the person you left behind. Another you is chasing the dream you never dared to pursue. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. If particles can be entangled, could your soul itself also be entangled? Ancient philosophies and religions often taught that the soul is not a single fixed entity. It is more like a river, branching, flowing into many directions. Each lifetime, each choice is just one stream among countless others. If we apply this image to quantum theory, we can imagine your soul existing across infinite parallel versions, each one experiencing a different branch of reality. And sometimes those versions might overlap. Have you ever felt déjà vu, as if you had already lived this exact moment? Perhaps that was a glimpse of another you walking this path in a parallel universe, and the quantum entanglement between your souls allowed you to feel it. Or maybe you once dreamed a vivid dream that later matched real life in eerie detail. What if that wasn't just imagination, but an echo from another version of your soul living that reality in another timeline? If so, then dreams and intuition, the things we often dismiss as vague, might actually be windows into the parallel branches of yourself. And if all these versions of you exist, linked together by invisible strings like quantum particles, then which one is the real you? Perhaps the real you is not the single being sitting here reading these words, but the entire network of parallel selves, woven together into a multi-dimensional soul. Science cannot yet prove this, but the idea opens a new way of seeing that the soul is not bound to one body, but part of a vast multiverse where all possibilities unfold at once. And if this is true, then every decision you make today doesn't just create one outcome in your life, it ripples outward endlessly, connecting to countless other versions of you. So the question becomes, are you ready to face the possibility that you are not unique? That your soul is already experiencing countless paths, countless forms, countless realities at the same time? Traditionally, we believe each choice we make leads to a single future. But if the many worlds theory is right, then every choice, whether you make it or not, is happening somewhere. You are no longer the sole decider. You are just one traveler on one branch among millions. So where does personal responsibility lie? If another version of you lived the worst outcome, does that lighten your burden? Or if another version of you achieved dazzling success, does that mean you missed out? This is the paradox. We are both free and not free. Free because all possibilities are allowed. Not free because you cannot stop the other branches from existing. You are simply flowing along one particular stream. But beyond all this lies something deeper: the entanglement of the soul. If tiny particles can remain bound together, then could the soul, often seen as a subtle form of energy, also be quantum entangled across parallel universes? If that's true, it means you are never fully separate from your other selves. Sometimes you feel a vague sadness for no reason. Sometimes a strange intuition arises, as if echoing from another life. Or you dream of a world completely unfamiliar, yet it feels hauntingly familiar. Perhaps these are the aftershocks of a parallel soul reverberating through the invisible thread that binds all your versions together. If so, the soul is not just a single flame housed in one body. It is like a layered symphony, resonating simultaneously across many spaces, many times, many realities. And if your soul is living many lives at once, then the question is no longer, who are you? But rather, which version are you choosing to experience right now? This reshapes how we see regret. Instead of thinking, if only I had chosen differently, you might believe that another you truly did walk that road, and you, here, are simply experiencing the branch you chose. It also transforms how we view success and failure. Success is no longer the only measure. Failure is no longer absolute. Every possibility exists side by side, and your soul has lived through them all. So what really matters? Perhaps not the final outcome, but the experience of walking this path in this reality. You may not control the entire multiverse, but you can control how you walk forward here and now. Go further and you see every choice is sacred. No matter how small, a word, a glance, a decision, each one sends out a vibration that ripples into eternity. And your soul, in all its multidimensional fullness, has recorded it all. So here's the open ending. When you look in the mirror this morning, ask yourself, how many versions of me are gazing back in parallel universes at this very moment? And when you stand before a decision, big or small, ask, which version of me will I choose to become among the infinite possibilities? You may never know all the other branches, but simply being aware of their existence is enough to change the way you live here and now. And maybe that is the greatest gift of this idea of entanglement of selves, a reason to cherish the present moment, because no matter how many branches exist, this one, the one you are living, is the only one you can truly feel. So, what do you think? Is the soul really living countless parallel lives, tangled among its own versions? Or is it all just the blur of imagination? If you'd like to keep exploring questions that blur the line between science and the soul, subscribe and turn on the bell. because there are many mysteries of the universe and perhaps of yourself still waiting to be revealed.